Hey, what's up? It's Jake, and we're going to be talking about Terraform State, and specifically in this one, we're going to go over remote backend. So let me explain what that is. So up to this point, for example, I have a Docker container running on my workstation. I did this simple Docker demo that I stole from uh, HashiCorp, and very simple, just build a container, it's like 2 second thing, right? And up until this point, all I've been doing was just like I just run this and it makes a thing, right? It makes a container and then it creates a state file. Well, in the real world, when you're working on a team or collaborating with other people on a project, you are all going to have different state files if you're doing this locally. So I'm going to have this state file, and then you're going to have a state file, and your state file might not be the same as my state file. So we want to make sure everything is consistent. So the only way to do that is to share your state file. And the only way to share it is to put it somewhere that's not on your computer. And we call that a remote backend. So we take the Terraform state file and we stick it somewhere in the cloud. It could be the Terraform Cloud, it could be an AWS bucket, it could be DynamoDB, it could be anywhere, and you throw it in somewhere on the back end, and then you have to configure your main files, and it'll be in your repo, so that should be the same everywhere. So everybody is sharing the same state file, and everybody has the same version of whatever current state is right this moment. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So in main, you just have to add this little thing at the top. So under Terraform, it used to just say required providers. I just stuck in backend remote, and then organization is the name of your organization in Terraform Cloud is what I'm going to use right now. And then a workspace, and then you can tell it whatever workspace you want. So I made a workspace called Docker Demo. So let me show you what that looks like. So in Terraform Cloud, I've got my organization, Nimbus DevOps, and then I have this Terraform workspace that I've been working out of, but I just made a Docker Demo workspace which uses the same repo, except in the advanced settings, I actually have it set with a working directory of my Docker directory. So it's the same repo, but you can create different workspaces for different directories within the same repo. So I just kind of cheated. So what I'm going to do is uh, you need to make sure you have this Docker demo or whatever you want to name it, a workspace, right? And make sure that your organization name is the same and your workspace is the same and that you're syntactically correct. So that's the only requirement in your actual main file. The only other thing, if you do create a new workspace, don't forget to put in your variables for your AWS access key ID and AWS secret access key if you need access to AWS. I am not going to need access to AWS right now. But I did put it in there because I'll probably end up doing some Docker AWS stuff. So that's really all that's required there. So make sure you got a file you can mess with. We're using the Docker one. Do a Terraform init, and you're going to see why. Terraform init, because when you initialize, it's going to initialize the backend and say required token could not be found. Run the following command to generate a token for Terraform login. So you need to get a token. So you can run this command, Terraform login, and it's going to say, hey, we want an API token. Do you want to proceed? And you type yes. And then I'm going to click Alt Tab the screen so you can't see my token. And it's going to just give me a token. I'm going to enter that value. And then I'll be able to get into connect to this workspace. So I'm going to pause this and go grab that so you don't see it. Okay, so if you're an idiot like me and you copied this and you pasted it and you're like, what, it didn't work. It does work, you just can't see it. So I just copied it, right clicked it, hit enter, and it said success after I failed 3 times. So follow the process, trust that it will work. So yeah, that works and it's all good. So now we did a Terraform init. Now it does set up the backend, the remote backend when it does this. So that's why it's doing this connection. If I had done a Terraform init and there was no connection to Terraform Cloud, it wouldn't require this. So because it tried to do remote backend, it's going to prompt me for a login, which is why it needed an API token. So now I can do a Terraform apply, and before I do, go take a look at our current workspace. And our current workspace, config is good, blah, 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 runs. There is nothing, like nothing has ever happened. It has not done anything, has 0 resources. It has nothing. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Terraform apply. Before I do, just in case, let's delete this. Just in case. And then let's delete my image. This is what I get for having it on. If you're really cool, you can do like Docker RMI and remove the image, and Docker container ls, get your container ID, Docker container RM container ID, and then Docker RMI image ID, and then you'll do all that. So if you want to do it from the command line, that's how you do that. All right, Terraform apply. So what happens? It says initialization required. Oh no, it's because I tried to log in, right? So you need to do Terraform init, and I should be good because I successfully logged in. So it's going to initialize a backend. Do you want to copy existing state to the new backend? Okay, and this is where you need to say, what do you think? I would say yes, right? So pre-existing state was found while migrating the previous local backend to newly configured remote backend. No existing state was found in the newly configured remote backend. So let me say in English. You have a state file here. There's no state file in Terraform Cloud. Do you want to put this state file in Terraform Cloud? And then you say yes. Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. And then successfully configure the backend remote. Terraform will automatically use this backend unless the backend configuration changes, which you can do. It initializes provider plugins, so it goes through the regular stuff. And then Terraform's been initialized successfully. So once it's migrated your state file, you can delete the local state file. So this tf state guy, you can just remove it. So I can just do like rm force terraform.state and dot backup. Boop, gone forever. So what happens if I do terraform apply? Is it going to create a state file? Apply not allowed for workspace with VCS connection. A workspace that is connected to VCS requires VCS-driven workflow to ensure the VCS remains single source of truth. What does that mean? Well, it means I have my VCS apply set up in a version control. So what I can do is I can do git add, and then I can do git commit -m configure remote backend, and then I can do a git push. And since I have this VCS set up, what'll probably happen, just guessing, is it should set it up to do a plan. So we'll just see if that actually works. It says resources too. Let me refresh this sucker. Yeah, I don't need this. I don't need that. Here's our state. Sweet. So we got state. That's awesome. Let's see here. So this is all local. So it's local, but like I had it driven from version control. So the only problem with that is if you go back and read the apply I got, apply not allowed for workspace with VCS connection. A workspace disconnects VCS requires a VCS driven workflow. So we need to define that workflow. Cool, no problem. Settings, general. Let's do execution remote. Your plans and applies occur on Terraform's infrastructure. So that's what it's saying. I could do local and have it do that, but I'm just going to do an auto apply here. And we got this, structure run output, that looks good. Save. So it says there's a remote, and then I did an auto apply. So if it detects changes, it can go ahead and find that. I don't need any variables. I put them in there just in case. There's our state. I don't have any runs. Here's my overview. Execution mode is remote. Auto apply is on. So it should be reading this. The issue might be that this, let's go take a look. So here and then Docker basic, did I change anything? Yeah, that's where my main file is. Let me try one more time. Yeah, everything up to date. Cool. Let me change like one small thing just for fun. Version 1.0 is like my favorite thing to add whenever I'm testing something. Save, git add, just in case there's stuff left behind. I don't think there is. All right, git commit -m, add BS version number. All right, git push. Voila. Now this is working correctly, and it might be just like set up incorrectly. Waiting configuration. Your configuration will be retrieved and should be available shortly. See version control setting page to change this workspace's VCS configuration. Checking configuration. It's uploaded, and it failed. So it should be doing something, but it's not doing something. I'm not exactly sure what I didn't do, but it's certainly not because I don't have a workspace description. But it is ready to build something. It's just not building anything or planning anything. Let me start one and let's see what happens. So if I do an init, queues a plan. Oh, my policy check is applied to everything. I got to change this. All right, so here you go. I'm maintaining in Docker, provider Docker. Error initializing Docker client, protocol not available. So here's how you fix this problem. You go to settings and you change this to local. And then you're going to share state globally. This workspace will only share state with a list of specific approved workspaces shown below. So right now it's set that way. Now it's shared with any workspace in this organization. Or I can just be like, who do you share? You can share it with other workspace. I don't need to do that. So I'm just going to leave this as local. Your plans occur on your machines you control. Terraform Cloud is only used to store and synchronize state. So because I'm doing a local Docker container, I'll go ahead and do that. So I save that. Now let's try to do a Terraform apply and see what happens. And to make sure it's in the right directory. Bloop. Cool. So it's 1:08 a.m. because I love to get a good night's sleep. And I just kicked this off. So we should see an image come in here pretty soon. And if we go check out Terraform Cloud and we go to states, we can see this was triggered 6 minutes ago, right? This is our new state file from 6 minutes ago. So let's go back 7 minutes ago. Oh, look, workspace locked. How is this locked? I'll tell you how it's locked. Because I'm using it right now. That's why. Boom, it's unlocked. Why is it unlocked? Because my apply is done. That's why. And now I have an image, and now I have a container. So as you see that the remote backend actually locks up. So if somebody else tried to run something, it wouldn't be able to use this state file because it would have been locked, right? So if I do a refresh, it should show a new time. There we go. So there's my new state file. So if you and I are working on the same project, you're going to try to hit this. If I have it locked because I'm building something, it's not going to work. It's going to be locked and you're going to have to wait. And then once a new state file is created and you try again, it's going to use the new state file. It won't use the old one. That's automatic. So anyway, so that's a little bit about remote state. There is a pretty cool way to do it with AWS, AWS S3 remote state for Terraform. And you remember how I did this backend remote? So you can do a backend S3, and instead of sticking it in there, you could put it in S3. And it basically does the same thing, it just writes the files to S3 instead of putting them in Terraform Cloud. So totally up to you. This is a lot cheaper, I think, because, well, it is and it isn't. If you use the free version of Terraform Cloud, then you don't have to pay the one millionth of a cent or whatever it's going to be to store this tiny file in Terraform in S3. Sorry, but you do need to do like bucket permissions and set the bucket policy up correctly. You can also do it in DynamoDB. I think I mentioned that earlier. And you can make use of S3 remote state in another configuration with Terraform remote state data source. So that's kind of cool, some options. I'll leave this AWS version and the Terraform version. I'll put some links in the description and below this video, and then you can, I feel like a real YouTuber right now. I'll put a link in the description below. I've never said the to like and subscribe anything though, and I won't. So anyways, have fun. Use remote state, please, everybody. You'll notice after I ran this that there is no longer a state file. In fact, I can even get rid of this lock if I wanted to. Boop, and it's all nice and cleaned up. And you'll notice in all of my directories, I have this like get ignore file, which says, hey, don't push all this to Git because it's just going to constantly change, and I don't want any of this causing problems. So I just git ignore anything with Terraform, TF state backup. So if you're doing remote state, you don't even need this git ignore entries. You might need it for other things, but if you don't need it, then I mean, you could get rid of it altogether. So just cleaning up, making things tidy, making things work better. So for now, because we're doing all the things Terraform, I'm going to leave this in the Terraform Cloud. And if you have any questions, let me know. And if not, then have fun building remote backends.